And North Carolina is under a state of emergency as parts of the Outer Banks are in the middle of an evacuation and other sections brace for storm surges. Emily Harrison is on the Outer Banks as part of our team coverage. And Emily, already we're seeing some strong waves sent by Hurricane Erin.
Well, even though there's barely a breeze where I'm standing at this point, you can see behind me just how rough the water is. I mean, take a look at that and how early those waves are breaking. As Dare County leaders say, it's only going to get worse as Hurricane Erin gets closer. Storm surges are projected to reach 4 feet off the ground, and it's catching many tourists off guard with planned vacations now possibly getting cut short.
We wanted to take a trip across the country, and the Outer Banks is one of our targets, and we just happened to catch it at this time with the hurricane coming.
Hurricane Erin may not make landfall, but it's getting too close for comfort as hundreds of North Carolina residents pack up their cars and evacuate.
It's imperative that any visitor on Hatteras Island who have not yet evacuated to do so immediately.
Right now, only Hatteras and Ocracoke Island residents are mandated to evacuate. But several Outer Bank County leaders say this evacuation order could extend to other parts if the trajectory of the storm changes.
So the local leaders are meeting regularly and putting out bulletins to the municipalities from the county. So we're staying informed and staying connected with regular updates, informing of actions that need to be taken for each area.
In the meantime, crews are preparing by stockpiling equipment and bags of sand. Double red flag warnings are posted up and down the beaches prohibiting any swimming, but it did not stop several surfers from entering the water. And tourists say they are unsure whether or not they'll leave in time.
It didn't concern me too much because it looked like it was more on the southern part of the Outer Banks, but it might hit up here. If that's the case, well, that's luck of the draw.
It's been a good experience, but we don't want to be here when it hits because we don't know what that'll be like.
For those choosing to leave or those who are mandated to leave, there's going to be 2 evacuation routes that Dare County leaders say that you can take. That includes U.S. Highway 158 North and U.S. Highway 64 West. Dare County leaders tell me that the best way to leave would probably be west, as they say there should be little to no traffic impacts in that direction. Live in the Outer Banks, I'm Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
All right, Emily, thank you for that update. And North Carolina residents also received a storm surge alert from the National Weather Service. It urged all residents to follow issued evacuation orders.
And the city of Virginia Beach is gearing up for any potential impacts from Hurricane Erin. Brianna Fallon is at the oceanfront with details.
Right now, the city of Virginia Beach is keeping a close eye on coastal areas around the city. That's due to the potential for heavy winds and coastal flooding. Chris Drew took a trip to Sandbridge this week. But with Hurricane Erin on the way, his vacation plans could change.
Waves were really rough, so I could tell that it's probably a lot riskier if you're spending time in, right on the main ocean.
That's because along the Virginia coast, the Atlantic Ocean could have waves reach 8 to 12 feet high tomorrow, then 10 to 14 feet high on Thursday, with waves in the Chesapeake Bay potentially reaching anywhere from 6 to 8 feet high.
So we'll make a decision depending on if things get worse and flooding gets worse. We may have to leave early.
But coastal flooding is not the only potential impact the city of Virginia Beach could see from Hurricane Erin. That's why Dave Topczynski, the director of emergency management for the city, says he and his team are taking steps to prepare ahead of the storm. But he says so should you.
Securing loose objects, bringing in those lawn chairs, grills, securing garbage cans, toys, stuff like that in the yard, having that secured up so it's not blowing around or blowing in neighbors' homes or vehicles.
Checking in on drains and having high water response vehicles ready are some of the ways the city is preparing in advance for any possible impacts. Topczynski says while folks living on the coast might be used to coastal flooding and these kinds of threats from Hurricane Erin, he says this is not the time to let your guard down.
Everybody says it's not going to happen to me till it does, so at least take the bare minimum precautions and pay attention.
Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
If you're worried about being in a flood-prone area, town center parking garages are available for anyone looking to move their cars.